In the frozen heart of the world's most isolated dictatorship, one man dared to defy the supreme leader himself. Every night, under the watchful eyes of armed guards and the constant shadow of execution, he loaded desperate families into the belly of his train. Not cargo, but human lives, smuggling them toward a fragile hope of freedom. For years, he outsmarted the regime's iron grip, until the day Kim Jong-un's personal wrath descended upon him. This is the true story of a hero the world almost never knew.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thank you for joining us as we uncover the most powerful, heartbreaking, and often terrifying true stories from around the world. Stories that reveal the depths of human courage and the darkest corners of tyranny. If you appreciate content like this, please hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow and allows us to bring more of these important stories to light. Drop a kind comment below, even something simple like respect or your thoughts on the story. It means a lot and helps with the algorithm. Thank you in advance. Now, let's dive into today's story.
His name was Num-soo. At 40 years old, he was just an ordinary train driver in the northern provinces of North Korea, the kind of man the regime expected to live and die in silent obedience. He had a wife, 2 young children, and a small apartment in a dusty workers' district near the rail yards. On paper, his life looked like millions of others under the Kim dynasty, filled with mandatory loyalty meetings, food shortages, and the ever-present fear of saying the wrong thing. But Num-soo carried a secret that could have ended his life at any moment. For over 7 years, he had been using his position as a freight train operator to smuggle people out of the country. Not for money, though the risk was insane. He did it because he could no longer stomach the suffering he saw every single day. It started small.
In 2014, during one of the harshest winters in recent memory, Num-soo was assigned a night route that hugged the border region near the Tumen River. The trains were old, poorly maintained, and often delayed for hours in remote sidings, while security checks were carried out. One freezing evening, a colleague quietly approached him in the rail yard. A family of 4, a mother, father, and 2 small daughters, had been marked for punishment after the father was accused of listening to a smuggled South Korean radio broadcast. They were facing the camps. The colleague begged Num-soo to hide them in an empty coal car for just one leg of the journey, close enough to the border that they might have a chance to cross on foot. Num-soo didn't sleep that night. He knew the penalty for helping defectors: public execution or lifetime imprisonment in the political prison camps, where death came slowly through starvation, disease, and exhaustion.
Yet when he looked at the terrified faces of those 2 little girls, something broke inside him. He agreed. That first journey was the beginning. He hid them under piles of coal sacks, gave them what little food he had saved from his own rations, and warned them when guards approached during stops. Miraculously, they made it to a point where they could slip away into the darkness toward China. Weeks later, Num-soo heard through underground whispers that the family had reached safety in South Korea. The mother had sent a coded message back through brokers. "We are free. Thank you for giving our daughters a future." After that, Num-soo could not stop. Word spread quietly among desperate people who had lost all hope in the system. He became known in certain trusted circles as the train that carries ghosts, because the people he helped simply vanished from the regime's records. One of the most heart-wrenching rescues happened in the summer of 2017. A young woman named Ji-yeon, only 28 years old, came to him with her elderly mother and her 6-year-old son. Ji-yeon's husband had been executed for anti-state crimes after he was caught trading rice on the black market to feed his family during a particularly bad harvest. The regime's guilt by association laws meant the entire family was doomed to the camps. Ji-yeon was desperate. She told Num-soo that her son had already begun showing signs of severe malnutrition, his tiny body covered in sores, his eyes hollow. Num-soo hid all 3 of them inside a specially prepared compartment in a freight car carrying machinery parts. The journey was long and terrifying. At one checkpoint, guards with dogs searched the train for almost 2 hours.
Tense Num-soo stood outside the car, heart pounding, casually smoking a cigarette while the dogs barked inches away from where the child was hidden. He distracted the guards with small talk about the weather and the latest propaganda slogans. The family survived the search, but inside the car, the little boy had begun to cry from fear and hunger. His grandmother pressed her hand over his mouth so hard she was afraid she might suffocate him, tears streaming down her own face. They made it across the border zone that night. Later, Num-Soo learned that the boy had survived and was now attending school in the south. Ji Yan had written a secret message that eventually reached him. "My son calls you his second father. He draws pictures of trains that fly to freedom." There were many more stories like this. A group of 5 university students who had been caught reading forbidden books about the outside world. An old man whose only crime was having a relative who had defected years earlier.
A pregnant woman whose husband had been sent to a labor camp. She feared her unborn child would be taken from her at birth and raised as a ward of the state. Num-Soo helped them all, perfecting hiding spots in coal cars, under false floors in equipment wagons, and even inside large supply crates marked for military use. He took insane risks, sometimes rerouting trains slightly or delaying departures to create windows for escape. He never asked for payment, though some families pressed what little money they had into his hands to help him continue the work. For years, the regime remained unaware. Num-Soo lived a double life, the loyal train driver by day, attending Juche ideology sessions and praising the dear leader, while at night becoming a lifeline for the desperate. He aged rapidly under the stress. By his late 30s, his hair was streaked with gray, and his hands trembled when he was alone. His wife suspected something but never asked questions. Silence was safer for everyone. But the walls were closing in. In North Korea, nothing stays secret forever. Informants were everywhere. In early 2021, one of the people Num-Soo had helped was caught in China and forcibly repatriated. Under brutal torture in the interrogation centers, where prisoners are beaten, deprived of sleep, and subjected to water torture until they break, the man revealed the name of the train driver who had assisted him. The regime's response was swift and merciless. One ordinary morning, as Num-Soo prepared his train, special forces surrounded the rail yard. He was arrested on the spot, beaten in front of his colleagues, and dragged away. His family was immediately taken as well, guilt by association. His wife and children disappeared into the system. Num-Soo was personally condemned by the highest levels. Rumors later suggested that Kim Jong-un himself had been briefed on the case, furious that a simple train driver had defied the supreme authority for so long. Num-Soo was sentenced to life imprisonment in one of the most notorious political prison camps in the mountainous interior, a place where the sun rises on despair and sets on broken souls. The horrors he witnessed and endured there were beyond imagination. The camp was a vast complex of barbed wire, watchtowers, and freezing barracks. Prisoners received starvation rations, a handful of corn kernels or watery soup made from weeds. They were forced to work 12 to 16 hours a day in mines, quarries, or logging operations, often with bare hands or primitive tools. Accidents were common, and those who were injured received no medical care. Many died from exhaustion, malnutrition, or infections. Psychological torture was systematic. Guards forced prisoners to confess their crimes repeatedly in public struggle sessions, beating them if their remorse didn't seem genuine enough. Num-Soo was made to denounce his own actions in front of the entire camp, screaming that he was a traitor to the fatherland while guards kicked him.
Sleep deprivation was routine. Prisoners were often kept awake for days with bright lights and constant shouting. Solitary confinement cells were so small, a person could neither stand fully nor lie down, sometimes for weeks. Water torture, hanging by the wrists, and beatings with wooden rods were daily realities for those who stepped out of line.
The worst part for Num-Soo was the knowledge that his family suffered because of him. He heard through whispers that his wife had been sent to a women's section of the camp, and his children placed in a special indoctrination facility for the offspring of traitors. The regime's goal was total psychological destruction, to make prisoners believe that their suffering was justified, that the outside world didn't exist, and that the only path to redemption was absolute loyalty to the leader, even in hell. Yet even in that abyss, Num-Soo's spirit flickered. Fellow prisoners later recalled how he would quietly share his food with the weakest, tell stories of the few families he had saved, and remind people that hope still existed beyond the mountains. He became a symbol of quiet resistance among the inmates, though speaking his name too loudly could mean execution.
Num-Su is believed to still be alive in the camps today, though his health has deteriorated severely. His story represents the thousands of silent heroes and victims trapped inside North Korea's nightmare. People who risked everything not for glory, but simply because they refused to let evil win without a fight.
The story of Num-Su, the train driver who became a hero of conscience, shows us both the incredible capacity for courage in the face of tyranny and the monstrous machinery a dictatorship uses to crush the human spirit. In a country where even thinking the wrong thought can destroy generations, one man's quiet defiance saved dozens of lives and lit a small candle of humanity in absolute darkness. If this story moved you, please support the channel by subscribing, liking this video, and leaving a thoughtful comment. Your engagement helps us continue bringing these important, often hidden stories to a wider audience. Share the video with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for watching until the end. Stay compassionate, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next story. Take care.